20 minutes later than we had hoped. So maybe they're a little bit behind there, but, that's probably something that happens a lot. Football Monday on WGR. The Bills are now 6-3. And what will Sam Panayotovich say later this week about it? What can you do? Plus 190 to win the division. We had that conversation 2 games ago before Kansas City.
What's New England at now?
Minus 250, maybe. Jets are plus 50,000 if you want it.
I don't want it.
But how?
I mean, you know how I love to lose bets, but I don't think I want that.
Miami plus 40,000. They're back in it, apparently. At that point we got to about how the Patriots' schedule was set up so that they're in a pretty good place to rattle off wins. And if they do some of that and the Bills don't go undefeated until they meet again in week 15, the Bills are going to be in a spot. And worst case yesterday, I mean, New England wins in Tampa, who the Bills get this week, and that's a pretty good win. And the Bills lose their game in the division, in the conference, and now are staring at 2 games back if New England wins Thursday night. Short week at home against the Jets, and they are 12-point favorites. I still think that's a team that could lose to anybody. But the Jets, I mean, what a lucky break in the picks for me to have the Jets. 2 special teams touchdowns.
Right.
To beat Cleveland. I mean,
and a long screen pass.
Yeah.
Would they have had 0 yards passing without that screen pass?
Right? Fields was at 5 yards passing at 3 o'clock yesterday.
It's amazing.
1 o'clock game. So now, if you believe in them, the Bills, you've got an opportunity for the first time in years to
get paid a little if you want to back them for the division. Yeah, sure.
Would you do it? I mean.
Yeah,
I think I could.
Yeah, I think it's nuts. I mean, I don't know who's in the mood to hear it right now. I'm barely in the mood to even say it. But yeah, I still think that what's so maddening to me about that loss specifically, the timing of it, is what the standings look like and who's in front of you. To me, look, everybody has been saying it almost since the season began. There isn't a, whatever the odds are the odds. The Bills and the Chiefs have been up at the top of the Super Bowl odds and all that stuff. And, that probably also changed somewhat after yesterday's results. But Indy, Denver, New England, these are the teams that are at the top of the conference right now. I think that means that's a green light to say it's wide open, because until one of these teams brings a 13 or 14 win season to the finish line, you're going to be waiting for them to stumble. You're going to wait for Daniel Jones to make enough mistakes or someone to actually tackle Jonathan Taylor. Wait for the Broncos to cut it close enough that they lose a couple. And, New England, kind of same thing. Nobody looks infallible, but you let everybody gain on you. You fell behind now, and it's just hard. If 4 was the most, right? 4, I'm thinking 4 losses is the most you can have. The Bills have 1 more to give here from here to the wire. And 6-1 7-1, right? They played 7-1.
13-4.
Isn't nuts.
Until I say 13-4 and you're thinking, that sounds pretty nuts.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good. Are they good enough to do it?
I don't know.
Sal Capaccio with us now on the Wester Hotline. Sal, as we always say, it's 2 different things. It's what the standings tell you about your situation, and then also what you look like. And now the Bills don't have the standings, security blanket anymore. New England is 8-2. And what they look like, Sal, I mean, anybody reading Arrows Down today would know. You pretty much covered everything except the punter right there.
Yeah, he got an arrow up too, right? He had a 62-yarder and put 2 out of 4 inside the 20. There was a lot that went wrong yesterday, and what they look like right now is not a team that really is, the division champions. The New England Patriots look like the team that is poised to do that, both in the standings and how they look, the way that they're playing. And the Bills need to play much better than they did yesterday if they want to have any chance to win their 6th straight AFC East division title, that's for sure.
Much, much better. When What was the locker room like, Sal? Is this team, and I'm asking you to make a broad generalization, I guess, and you'll maybe not want to do that. I just wonder, as you sort of, it's new territory here for a lot of these guys with this team, including McDermott and Allen. I mean, it's been so long since I guess 2 years ago a little bit, but still, I mean, they've won so much. Do you sense, like, is there outward frustration? Is there maybe confusion over what's happening, maybe especially on offense?
So a lot there. Actually, I like the question, Mike, to be honest with you, because I'm going to say that it's not the newest territory. They have been down this road before, right? Where you go to Jacksonville and have that awful game a few years ago. They had a tough. They were like 6-5 a few years ago, right? And then they came back and won the division. Like, they've had these swoons. There's no doubt about that. It typically does not happen in a division game against a really bad team. That's for sure. But the reason I like the question is because there was something in the locker room yesterday that really kind of stood out to me, and that was that you had offensive leaders, Josh Allen, Keon Dawkins, Spencer Brown, who basically said the Miami Dolphins either wanted it more or played harder. That is unacceptable, period. It doesn't matter. And when you have your offensive leaders saying that, that's concerning. Now, it doesn't have to be an overarching issue for the rest of the year. And in fact, to me, when you have those guys say it, maybe that's a good thing that it comes out that they say it, because that gets addressed today. And Sean McDermott just spoke about that. And I'll be the first telling you guys know this, right? I mean, you can't expect an NFL team full of 53 players and how physical and violent this game is and emotional this game is to be up on your A game emotionally every single week. You just can't. It's impossible. And when you win a big game like you do in Kansas City and you go on the road against a division opponent that's really got no direction, you can understand maybe a little letdown. But to hear that is concerning. And, I think that's something that needs to be addressed. But I'm confident it will be addressed. The question is, can you make it work the other way?
I wonder when I hear guys like that say that, are they talking about themselves? Are they talking about the group as a whole? Like, that would also, it's alarming to hear. It's even more alarming if Josh Allen is telling you he wasn't as up for this game as he needed to be. But, your point overall is, I think, the right one, that even him, like, you're not going to expect every guy to have it every time they go out there. But I guess I think we want to think the MVP is immune to that.
That's right. And I don't know if, and I wouldn't say that they said they weren't particularly, right? Because I don't think they were saying they didn't play hard. They were saying Miami really wanted it. They played hard. Yeah. They came right after us. And,
they probably weren't expecting that.
Correct. And I think it's because of what we just said, which is they just fired their GM. And are they trading their best player? The head coach doesn't sound like he really is, making a lot of sense when he talks, and the quarterback and all that. And, man, this team. Right? And then all of a sudden they come out there and they put that and like, oh, man, they're here to play with us. And they got some confidence early. And, that helped, too, with the Miami Dolphins. It hurt the Bills, obviously. I mean, but when you have a start the way that happened, I mean, one of my main keys of the game on the article I wrote on Saturday was just get off to an early start and put this team away. If you do that, that's going to help. And here's the other part about that. That's not just a yesterday thing that they needed to do that against that team. Like, guys, one of the things that's really coming out of this over the last few weeks is this team is not built, I think, personnel or philosophically, to play like that. They have to get control of the game early.
Yep.
They did against Kansas City. That's why they won. Like, they won. They scored in the first drive. They're up. They were in control of the game. No, they weren't up like the entire time. I think Kansas City tied it, whatever, early, but they were in control. The Bills were not in control, and they are not, to me, built personnel-wise or philosophically right now to combat that when they fall behind like that.
You know what's particularly galling about that is, Miami wanted it more. Like, they were intense. I mean, they won the toss, took the ball, and Tua arm punted an interception. So and by the way, Miami's burning timeouts before the game even started practically.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't exactly buttoned up. Like, they were maybe itching to get beat. And instead, the Bills, they punt on 4th and 1, a long one, whatever, and Miami scores, and then the game is 16-0 into the fourth quarter, which is mind-boggling to me that you could have a game against the Miami Dolphins with that defense, with this quarterback, and have it be scoreless into It really did bring back memories of the Urban Meyer game, because while that game was not as sideways score-wise and didn't end up as sideways score-wise, right? Jacksonville was never up 16-0 on you. It's a game where you're looking at the TV going, like you're that meme with the kid with the stick. Do something, just like poking. Like, come on, why don't you do something? So I don't think like Miami came out and was guns blazing. They might have just, if the Bills have been able to punch them after that first interception, maybe Miami almost goes away.
No doubt about it. And I heard you guys open up, and I'm with you. Like, I would have liked to see them gone for it there because, okay, what if you fail? Miami gets the ball. If they score, we're still going to be okay. It was the 34-yard line. I understand. Yep. Sean was just asked about it. He said, that's a little shallow for us where we want to go for it. I mean, you're talking about that's closer to your own end zone than a kickoff that goes into the end zone, right? That's a touchback.
Right. Yep.
I mean, I don't want to go too crazy about that. What bothered me more was, like, not getting the first down on the play before that. It's 3rd and 2. You hand it out to James Cook. That's your bread and butter. 3rd and 2. Go get the first down. But that happened all day. You're facing the number 30 rush defense in the league. You have the number 1 rush defense in the league, and you can't get it going. They average 4 yards a carry, 80-something yards total. That's including Josh, right? And look, I know that Miami does play already a lot of base, but Miami made it clear from the get-go of this game, we are going to shut down James Cook. We are going to shut down the running game. And this is wild to say because the Buffalo Bills have Josh freaking Allen at quarterback, right? We're going to dare you to beat us in the passing game. We're going to dare you to do. And the Bills can't do it.
And it works. Right, yeah.
They did.
That's what teams are going to do the rest of the year, by the way, until they do it.
They did go for it on 4th and 1 on their second possession, and it was Patrick DeMarco 2 on a fourth down heave to Hawes.
It was, Mike. It was. But I will just say, I just asked Joe Brady about that just now. And, I mean, they went with the play they ran against Kansas City. Then that was like the third read. I mean, Josh, it was covered, right? Josh couldn't – he wanted to go to the flat. I think it was Ty Johnson on that. Last week it was James Cook. And then I think his second read was covered up. We're right behind that. But, yes, you're right about that. But it wasn't like that wasn't the play. That was Miami had it schemed up. And Joe Brady just said, like, they were going to hand the ball off right before that. Miami called timeout. They went through their process of, okay, what do we want here? They're going to change this. We should change that. So, yeah, I know. It looked pretty bad there. But, look, the other part of it is, and I just said this to Joe, too, because we're – like, some of the numbers are suggesting, a lot of the numbers – it's funny. When you think about how teams are playing the Bills, I think the thing that we're all saying, and I've been thinking this, like, oh, man, they're just locking up receivers and then saying, okay, well, you can't beat us. The Miami Dolphins played a ton of zone defense, and the Bills are actually seeing way more zone defense than man-to-man this year. And I think it's two things. I think it's, number one, teams aren't letting Josh Allen beat him with his legs and saying, we're going to look at you everywhere you go. And anytime you move, we're going to be there. And the other thing is they're forcing him to beat him underneath. And now you're covering everything up. And Josh is, quite frankly, probably getting a little frustrated, which is some of that stuff you see where, why didn't he pull the trigger? And, beating zone is a little different than beating man. And, you got to find the right spots and all that stuff that's what's kind of happening here in the mix of the sauce.
Well, beating zone gets a lot harder if the safeties don't have to be deep. And,
that's right.
And like every account I'm reading, and even just watching the game myself, Miami's not respecting that. So that shrinks how much you have to work with if a team is playing zone on you, because you don't have to really worry about getting beat over the top. Which brings us to Keon Coleman. How much do you make of McDermott's point-blank answer when asked about Coleman? There's been a lot said and written since the game ended about Coleman's work ethic, how hard he was working on each route he ran, and it seems like there was maybe a decent amount of give up or just not going all out. And so McDermott is asked point-blank about his effort, and his answer is, he knows I'm not satisfied. It's fair that you're asking about it. I promise you it gets addressed.
He knows when I'm not satisfied. He wouldn't today go quite as far as to say, like, he's not. He just really sort of sidestepped it, I thought.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I think he wasn't. He did say he knows when I'm not satisfied.
Oh,
he didn't say he wasn't satisfied.
I've got a quote here that's mistaken then. All right. Thank you for correcting.
Okay, yeah,
that.
I think that, and I have to. And this just happened an hour ago too, so I want to make sure too.
Yep.
But let's address the broader question, Bulldog, which is fair, right? Which is,
like, when does he get benched? Is this my question? Because I'm there. I'm nuclear on this.
He's still on the field the most amount of snaps.
I know.
Khalil, and they were right there together at this time, right?
Yep.
So, This reminds me of the answer Sean gave last night after the game, which was about a different question, which was, hey, Brandon Beane says he believes you have a championship roster. Do you believe you have a championship roster? He didn't say yes. He didn't say no. But when you ask a question like that and your answer is,
not yes.
I love the guys in this dressing room. I love this team. That's kind of notable, right? And
yep.
And then the same thing happened today. And his answer wasn't about yes or no about the effort. The answer was he knows when I'm not satisfied. He didn't say if that's happening now or not, but I think we can read a lot into a lot of these things.
That's a really loaded question to ask a coach, especially off the deadline and the Waddle report and different things like that. Yeah, I mean, fair enough on the long pass to Hawes, but what it wasn't is an Allen-designed run, and that's also what they didn't do by punting on the first drive. He ends up with 4 carries in this game. Brian Daboll gets fired in New York, and one point that's been made about the Giants' failures is too many Jackson Dart design runs.
He's abusing Jackson Dart.
Yeah, like he's sort of abusing.
Well,
so
can I add this too today? And I've said this, guys. I've been saying this all year. It's just I'm telling you, everything I've heard come out of Sean McDermott and even Brandon Beane or whatever, going back to the offseason, there's always this undertone of we just have to make sure Josh is always healthy because he's the guy. And he said it again today.
Yeah.
He said, Josh is our leader, and he has all the faith and confidence. He said he's very proactive. He's in these meetings. He wants to, he's a big part of wanting to get this right and turn around. Like, he's proactive. And he also said, and we have to keep him healthy. And I'm telling you, it just every time that happens, I think this is designed to say we're playing the long game here. Now, in the moment, you want that. And I agree. Give me a design run. Give me a first down, kid, right? Like that. But I think this is part of the long game overall strategy. And you see Lamar get hurt. You see Joe Burrow get hurt. You see what's happening around the league, and you say, I don't want to be in that situation. Now, I know we look at it and go, oh, well, what does it matter if you lose the game? I get it, right? But if you get the quarterback hurt, then you're losing more games. And I just think that's the needle they're trying to thread.
I think you're right. And it's the first quarter against Miami, and you're still expecting to win. Allen design runs are the break glass in case of emergency. We saw that 2 years ago, and we'll see if we get there here this week or sometime soon. He's older now, and the risk would be more, if not greater, you'd be thinking about it and worried about it more often. All the Cam Newton comparisons we've heard.
You just would be worried you're tempting fate a little bit, yeah.
Right, because that is the ball game if he goes down. Just to get this in, Sal, from you, Brian Daboll's name came up with McDermott today. What was said?
He was asked if there'd be any consideration bringing Brian Daboll back on staff at this point. He said there's no consideration right now. And I do believe when he means right now, and I'm not saying that there would be in the future either. I just don't think there's any consideration of that with this head coach right now, at least. But hey, I've learned you never know, right? In this league, I've learned that you never know when anything can happen. But it just feels like that's not. And there's no opening on this staff. And this is me talking. There's no opening on this staff. And Brian Daboll's under contract to the New York Giants. And, he could, go somewhere else. And, I guess, didn't Robert Saleh do that when he got fired?
Consult
and
or whatever.
Or whatever,
special
right?
assistant. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you can do that. But it just feels like that's just something that's not in the cards or going to happen right now. And we'll see what the future holds for Brian Daboll.
Sal, I know this has come up already this season, but we're getting calls again. I got a couple on postgame. We got one today about Josh on the sidelines and the looking forlorn or the 1,000-yard stare or whatever. And a guy yesterday on postgame is like, I want him rallying his troops and all this sort of stuff. And of course, these are people watching television just like I am, basing this opinion on the 4 seconds that Allen's face is on the TV after a drive ends. What do you have any observations to offer? I think I remember what you said last time, but just to hit refresh on the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're going to see what the TV shows you. And I'm not telling you that Josh Allen is absolutely getting in guys' faces and rah-rah and super happy when they're not showing you that. I'm not telling you that. What I am saying is it's very businesslike. It always is. And when things don't go right, especially when things don't go right, and it's a 3-and-out or a 4-and-out, stopped, turnover, whatever, Josh wants to get to the sidelines and figure it out. He gets there. He gets his helmet down. He sits down, and immediately he's met by Ronald Curry, the quarterback's coach, and by Mitch Trubisky, the backup quarterback, and they are pouring through what's happening. That it is a very but that's what happens at every position group, right? So the way it works on an NFL sideline is, your position group, and I remember like the D line is all like maybe in one spot, usually on the right end of the bench is where they are, and the O line is over on the left end of the bench usually. It's kind of like where you normally go, and you want to go there because that's where your coach comes over, and you just try to figure out solutions to the next time you go out there. And there's a time and place, I guess, for all that. And I'm not disputing that. Like, it'd be great. It'd be great if we all saw that in what happened in the Kansas City game in the AFC divisional round, and that Josh Allen. That's great. But right now they're not moving the ball and they're not scoring. And I don't think yelling at people or getting people, not that people are saying it has to do it that way. It has to be, but he's frustrated. And he wants to get to the sidelines. He wants to figure out what's going on to figure it out for the next series. And that's what you're seeing.
And he wants to do it in private. If he's got something to say, I think he's always kind of been that way, like most guys would be. Quarterbacks would recognize easily what they're doing by any sort of a blow up, in public.
Yes.
So, all right, Sal, we'll let you go here. Thank you.
You got it, guys.
Sal Capaccio on the West